We are exactly 1 month away from Election Day for the U.S. Senate runoffs, and the Senate's balance of power hangs on these races. It's keeping Georgia in the national spotlight and making the state a political pit stop for several big names. Mara Sirianni joins us now from the state capitol. Mara, yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence and President Barack Obama both took part in rallies, and now President-elect Joe Biden says he will come to Georgia, but today it is President Trump who is in the Peach State to campaign.
He is. President Trump and the First Lady are headed to Valdosta. That is in Lowndes County, where President Trump beat Biden 55 to 43%, a pretty wide margin down there. So we are expected to see a lot of his followers and supporters, again, flocking to Valdosta Regional Airport for that rally that is for tonight at 7 o'clock. So it's being hosted by the Republican National Committee. President Trump is expected to rally in support of Georgia's incumbent GOP senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. We know control of the Senate, Christy, as you said, is on the line in Georgia. We also saw Vice President Mike Pence visiting Atlanta and Savannah yesterday. Former President Barack Obama held that virtual rally alongside Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. And coming up Sunday is debate night. An hour-long debate is planned with Loeffler and Warnock. Perdue refused to debate, and now Ossoff will stand alone and respond to moderator questions. But again, the first thing that is happening would be President Trump's rally. That is tonight in Valdosta, again, the regional airport there at 7 o'clock. If you are headed that way, gates open at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
All right, we will follow his journey as he lands and heads to Valdosta. Keep it right here on 11 Alive. Thanks, Mara.